4 wives. It's a classic story which indicates how rebirth happens. So once upon a time, there was a man with 4 wives. That's a crazy guy. I haven't got 1 wife, I'm much happier. But he had 4 of them. So this poor guy had 4 wives. And he was getting towards the end of his life, and he was actually on his deathbed. He thought he was going to die. And he starts to get worried about what happens after you die. And so he called his 4th wife, the wife he married late on in life. And she was very, very attractive. In fact, she was so beautiful. She made many, many things possible for him, especially invitations to high society. She was his passport into the A-list of parties and receptions and concerts in the city in which he lived. And so he brought her to his bedside and said, "Darling, I love you very much. You've been so good to me." She said, "Yes, I love you, darling, too." And he said, "I'm about to die." "That's so sad," said his 4th wife, "and I'll be lonely without you. Will you come with me into death?" "What? No way! I'm not going to die with you. What do you think?" He said, "But what I will promise you, I will go to your funeral, I promise you that. And I will speak a wonderful eulogy about you. I'll praise you to everybody." "Is that all?" said the man. "That's all I can do and all I will do." "I thought you said you loved me." "Get out of here!" And he chased his 4th wife out, and he brought his 3rd wife in. He'd married her before the 4th wife. And the 3rd wife, was a bit older, but still she was very attractive. And in fact, some of these older women are very, very attractive, to many men. So it gives you hope, doesn't it? And the third wife had been really, really helpful for him. And she'd made probably even more things possible. She made him get a comfortable house and a comfortable living, all because of, the third wife and what she was. And so he brought his third wife in and said, "Darling, I love you very much too. I'm very attached to you." And she said, "I love you too, darling." And he said, "I'm about to die, and I'm afraid. Will you come with me into death?" "No! It's never been done, and I can't do that. I won't do that. But one thing I can promise you, I won't just go to your funeral, I'll pay for it. And I'll make sure you get a wonderful funeral." And he said, "But then what would you do?" He said, "Well, after you're dead, I'll probably go with your eldest son." "What? That's adultery, and I haven't even died yet. Get out of here, you shameless scallywag hussy." And he sent his third wife out. He still had two to go. So he brought his second wife. He'd married his second wife a long, long time ago. And she wasn't pretty at all. But she was one of those women who was really wise and helpful. She was always there for him, especially in times of trouble. And she looked at his second wife and said, "Well, I've known you for such a long time. I'm about to die. I'm really afraid of dying and being alone. Will you," I know these other two said no, "but will you please come with me into death?" And the second wife looked at him and started crying. She said, "Darling, I'd really love to. If I could, I would. But all I can do is come to your graveside. That's as far as I can come. I'm sorry." "Get out," he said. And he still had one wife left. And this wife, he'd known her for so long he couldn't remember the time before he met her. And she was very neglected. The two later wives got all of the jewellery and the fine clothes. And so the first wife, she was very poorly dressed. bad hair, but behind the scenes she was working so hard for him. He never really appreciated her, or really supported or helped her at all. And he looked at her and said, "You're my last chance. I've known you for so long, and I'm so connected to you." And she said, "Yeah, we've got this very deep connection together." And he asked the question, "I'm about to die. Will you come with me into death?" And she smiled and said, "Sure, I will. I go with you everywhere. That's why my name is Mrs. Karma. I go with you from life to life. And your second wife, Mrs. Family, your family love you, and they will always support you and be there with you. And they can go as far as your graveside, but no more. You can't take them with you." And that's for the third wife. That was called Mrs. Money. You usually get that later on in your life. And Mrs. Money can pay for a wonderful funeral for you. And Mrs. Money can do so much for you in this life, but can Mrs. Money go with you into death? No. After you die, Mrs. Money will go with your eldest son. Or at least with one of your children. Maybe to the lawyer, I don't know. That's the inheritance. And the fourth wife, which you get last of all in life, is called Mrs. Fame. Your reputation, who makes many things possible for you. Entry into the A-list of society, maybe, if you're very famous. And will give you a good eulogy, a good word at your death, who you were and what you did. But can your fame and reputation go with you? No, said the fourth wife, it can't be done. And that's the simile of the man with the four wives. It can be the woman with the four husbands. It's only a metaphor of all these things which we love and care for and think are ours, which we attach to. Our fame, our fortune, our family, and this thing called karma.